Hey everyone, welcome to this quick demo of Brainstorms. Brainstorms is a mind mapping tool that aims to be a bit more simpler than what's out there currently. It aims to have a quite a different way of approaching the creation of mind maps. But most importantly, it tries to create a more joyful experience, an experience which is not bogging you down, but makes you want to explore it further and explore your curiosity further. So just to break down what we're seeing here, on the left-hand side, we have a pane which will show the current mind map that you are in. And on the right-hand side, we have an editor which is respective to the current node that you have selected. At the top, we have some buttons, which are just general buttons with your account. And the top left is a list of the brainstorms/mind maps that you have created under the given account. Now, by default, every account will have an inbox mind map. The sole purpose of an inbox mind map is simply just to jot down anything that you're not quite sure where it should go yet, but you still want to capture that information somewhere. So let's say I want to learn about operating systems, and I've just learned about paging, and I've learned about the concept of scheduling. And so what I can do in my inbox is I can right click and create a node. And let me create two actually. And I'm going to rename this one by double clicking on Untitled to Paging and the other one to Scheduler. Now I've got these two nodes. I want to move them somewhere more permanent. And so what I can do is I can create a new brainstorm and I'm going to name it Operating Systems. When I go to operating systems, Brainstorms will create a root node for me by default. And I can expand from here if I wish. But let's go back to inbox, because what I want to do is I actually want to move this current node that's in inbox to that newly created mind map. And I can see it here. So I'm going to click here and click move. And I'm going to do the same for schedulers. Cool. Now my inbox is empty. It's clutter free. And if I go to the operating systems brainstorm, you can see that both have been linked correctly, and I can move it to make it a bit more neater. But you can see that it's been linked correctly here, which is great. Now let's dive deeper. I want to expand into paging. What this will do is that firstly, it will track the history of nodes that I have traversed. It will also show me what the previous node I was at was by highlighting it in this gray color. Now with brainstorms, every node has its own state. It will always show the nearest neighbors initially. It will never show the whole mind map. So essentially you can think of it as an isolated view on that given node that you're currently looking at. Let's say I want to create a new connection to paging. I can hover over the borders of paging and I can click, drag and drop and create a new node. I'm going to name this one Paging Techniques. Another thing that we can do is we can drag and drop multimedia data into Brainstorms. I want to add this image into the current node that I'm at, which is paging, just for visual context for my own learning. Every multimedia data format that you add is going to be specific to the current node that you're currently in. Therefore, if I go back to operating systems, you won't see that image anymore unless I expand back into paging again. Now I want to explore paging techniques further, but I'm quite unfamiliar in this area. In the node toolbar, we have a couple of options here. Some are just utility functions like expand, which I showed previous. And we have delete, we have the move to, which I showed prior. But we have these two new functions that are AI tools. One is follow-up questions and one is determine misconception. I'll get onto this later, but for now, let's ask AI to generate us some follow-up questions for our given node. I quite like the idea of page replacement algorithms and page fault management, but I'm not too interested in demand paging for now. Perhaps later on. The editor on the right hand side is a simple text editor which accepts Markdown. I can write simple text. I can write Markdown. lists, bullet points, and so on and so forth. Let's now go back to operating systems mind map. I want to now go learn more about schedulers. I'm going to create a new node, and I have this conception that all schedulers in operating systems work the same. However, I'm not too confident whether that is the case or not. So now I can use that determinist conception and let Brainstorms help me, guide me to ensuring that I'm writing correct information. So Brainstorms has correctly identified that schedulers can have different algorithms and strategies for task management. And it's also suggested a new title for that node. And I'm going to accept this suggestion. And I'm going to dismiss the alert. So now we have a decently created mind map. We have some images and we have some nodes connected to each other. But let's say that we come back to this sometime later on and we want to go straight to a given node that's in our head. We already have what we're trying to look for in our head, but we don't want to go through that manual process of having to expand and expand until we get to that given node. What we can do is we can go to go to. And here it has a list of all the nodes that exist across all your mind maps. And I can search, for example, the page fault management. And I can go straight to that place in the mind map and work from there.